Our scripture this morning, first one, comes from John 13:17. You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. I tell you the truth, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than those who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them. And the second reading comes from Proverbs 16:9. In his heart, a man plans his course, but the Lord determines his steps. May God bless his holy reading. Okay, now before we get started this morning, I really want to thank some people because this could not have gone off the way it has without some amazing opportunities. So first, I want to thank you as a congregation for allowing me to bring my chapter here. It's awesome to see this blue. I want to thank Barry for letting me get up here because this is something I really enjoy and I'm glad I had the opportunity. I want to thank my advisors, Mr. Cable Oaks, Mrs. Brooke Kretz, and of course our student teacher, Mr. Yusuf Jayoni. He's as much as an advisor as my regular advisors. And I want to thank my mom, my Aunt Robin, my Grandma Babe, Lucinda Dolan, and Roslyn. They have helped put on a wonderful meal downstairs for my chapter. And Kim Tate, thank you. Kim, where are you at? Thanks, Kim. And I wouldn't have been able to do this without them. So thank you all very, very much. And with that, I want you all to close your eyes. Go on, close them. I'm not going to do anything. I promise. Okay. Now, I want you to imagine an auditorium. And it's about, big enough to hold maybe 10,000 people. Okay? You got that? All right. Now, let's add some seats and a stage at the front and actual people. Okay? And let's say all of these people are sitting. Still with me? Okay. Now let's add you to the mix. You walk into this gymnasium and you see something so spectacular. A sea of blue. Everywhere you look, you see national blue corduroy with corn gold emblems taking over the backs of thousands of jackets. Soon the lights go out and an announcer comes over the loudspeaker. Countdown to convention! Everybody around you is counting down. 10, 9, 8. You barely find a seat in time. 3, 2, 1. As soon as one is reached, sirens go off. Lights are shooting out across the room. Smoke is rising from the stage, and a human tunnel forms in the middle of the room. Your heart races with excitement and anticipation. And soon you realize that you are at National FFA Convention. Open your eyes. National FFA Convention. It's one of the greatest highlights of an FFA member's career. Going to convention and seeing members from all across the nation, uniting to compete, celebrate, go to the career show, and learn how to become better advocates for agriculture. At convention, you attend numerous workshops, tour the city you're in, and meet amazing people who have the same passion as you, agriculture. Everybody comes to convention because they care about the future of agriculture. In fact, we care so much that we take ag classes in high school to learn more about it. But that's not what ag is all about. In fact, that's just a small portion of what's actually taught in the classroom. If you walk into the ag room on any given day, you can find kids out in the wood shop being carpenters, or maybe they are learning how to be electricians, or maybe they're learning about conservation or different types of jobs in agriculture. And you might walk in on one of those special days where we're learning about traits that we all want to someday possess. From the first time that I walked into that ag room, I learned the definition of leadership. I learned that to be a good leader, you have to be able to connect with people on all types of grounds. That good leaders can educate in the simplest of ways. Now, most of my lessons of leadership have, strangely enough, come from public speaking. It's something I really enjoy, getting up in front of large crowds with all of the attention on me. Pretty selfish, huh? But it's where I'm most confident, where I'm comfortable, where I know that what I'm saying is making a difference to someone. And I think that's how Jesus felt when he was on his teaching spree. That what he was saying, yeah, it may not have made a difference to everybody, but there was one person, just one person, who it really mattered to. Here's a man who devoted his life to teaching people about his Father and all of the security he offers. That's a really tough job. But along the way, Jesus learned how to be an effective leader. Think about it. He practiced public speaking on a daily basis. He was able to connect with people from all walks of life and teach them about God in ways that they could understand. Remember those times when Jesus did some things that nobody really understood? Remember when Mary found him in the temple teaching the Pharisees? He was maybe 12. Or what about the time when he was healing the riffraff that nobody wanted to associate with? Or what about when he told those who had not sinned to cast the first stone on the adulterous woman? Those times, Jesus didn't do it just for himself. He did it for God. But along the way, he was being a leader. He was teaching. He was connecting. He was building relationships with those who needed it the most. Jesus built long-lasting relationships with everybody he came into contact with, especially his disciples. They were people that nobody really thought could amount to anything. But Jesus believed in them. Fishers of men is what he called them. And when the time came, he cast them out into the ocean of life and told them to haul in the weary, the weak, the selfish, the worried. He told them to haul in those crowds with promises that God loved them, with promises that Jesus died for them so that they could live eternally. And all they had to do was ask for forgiveness and believe. Sometimes it was really hard, believing. So Jesus performed miracles, and that brought in more crowds. And the disciples told of those miracles, and sometimes they even performed miracles themselves. That's awesome. But we live in a society today where seeing is believing. Now, yes, this rule applies to certain things. If somebody told me they can do a backflip, I want to see that backflip, because that is legit. If you can do a backflip, please do it. I can't do that. But this rule, well, it shouldn't have to apply to God. But for some reason, it does. One day, I was up at the barn doing the morning chores like I've done the past 4 years of my life. And one of the tasks I have to do is I have to clean out all of the presents that the steers and the heifers left me. And I get to put them in a wheelbarrow and dump them in the manure pile. It's exciting. So also when I'm up at the barn, I like to talk to myself. Solving world problems, as I like to call it, not insanity. So here I am, I've got my wheelbarrow and my load, and I'm going out to the manure pile, and I'm just talking. And all of a sudden, I get so angry. And I don't even know why. And I'm just yelling and screaming at the stars, blaming them for all of my problems. So here I am, screaming, dumping the manure, and all of a sudden, I hear this ding in my left ear. It was a bell. It was really pure. We've all seen the Polar Express, and remember the little boy, he picks up the bell, and he says he believes, and he rings it in his ear, and you just hear this beautiful sound. Well, that's half of what I heard. I can't even explain it. So I shut up. I'm done on my ranting spree, and I look around. Nobody. Nothing. Nada. I'm all alone, and the dog's not even there, and Blackie always stays beside me. So I kind of go along my way. I'm scared, But then I get this overwhelming sense of peace and security. And I feel like I've gotten 12 hours of sleep instead of 4. And I decide, okay, I'm not angry anymore. I am so happy. And so I go back into the barn. And as I'm going back to the barn, I'm thinking about what just happened. Because that's what I do. I analyze, and then I analyze, and then I overanalyze what I've already analyzed. My brain is so confusing. And I'm thinking, this isn't just a coincidence. Something here is going on. What happened? And then I realized, well, that was God. That had to be God. And I realized something that I didn't even remember when I was on my ranting spree. As soon as I heard that bell, there was a voice inside my head, and it was tired, kind of groggy, a little bit fed up, and it just said, "Breilly, would you just shut up already?" Kid you not, that's what I heard in my head. And I knew it had to be God then, because who else would tell me to shut up besides myself? And I wasn't going to do that because I was on a go. It's moments like these that we need to share with the naysayers of the days. Now, they may counter-argue and say it's a figment of your imagination, and that if God really did exist, that he would have helped them during their troubling times. Let me tell you, we all have those days when we feel like God is not listening, where our problems are so insignificant, he shouldn't even worry about them. But we're wrong. No problem's too small. In fact, he's always listening, even when we're yelling. And sometimes he's fixing our problems while we're complaining about them. It's in moments like those when a bell goes off that our problems go away and our heart takes over. It's in moments like those when a bell goes off that we learn something more than we ever anticipated to. And we get this growing urge to just take the leadership and step up and tell everybody about what just happened. All of our newfound knowledge, becoming the fishers of men like Jesus wanted us to be. Now another story. A few weeks ago, my choir teacher was talking to the class about the upcoming contest season. And he said that if we wanted to get a 1 rating at competition, which is the best you can ever possibly imagine to get, it means you're amazing. If we wanted to get that, we were going to have to work so hard. Well, duh, that's a no-brainer, work hard. And he said, once we work hard, though, we are going to give our music a heart, a soul, a life. Now, this next part really stuck with me. He said, I can teach you everything you need to know about music. But that doesn't matter unless you take what you know here and put it here. Essentially, what he was saying, he could teach us everything that we needed to know to technically sing that music well. But if we didn't take that technical knowledge and put it in our hearts and make that music our own, we weren't going to get the results we wanted. Isn't that the same thing with Christianity? We've learned about God ever since we were little, given all the knowledge we could possibly need to know to become better disciples of Christ. But what's the point in calling ourselves Christians if we don't do something with that knowledge, if we don't put it in our heart and tell the world about it? The whole point of being a Christian is to share your story and to share Jesus' story, that he died for you and you are saved, and all you have to do is ask for forgiveness and believe. That is great news. No, it's wonderful and fantastic news. But some people don't want to take that news. They don't want to hear it. Some people don't want to step up to the leadership position that's required, and they're too scared. What would have happened if Jesus would have been scared to heal the riffraff on the street? Those people wouldn't have been healed. But most importantly, they wouldn't have become believers in Christ. Let me tell you, if I was sick and I was shunned from society and somebody healed me and said they were Jesus Christ, I'm bowing down, because that is amazing work right there. What would have happened if Jesus wouldn't have told those who had not sinned to cast the first stone? Well, a woman would have died. And those do-gooders, Well, they wouldn't have been given the opportunity to know that they aren't perfect, that nobody is perfect. If we can learn to model our behavior after Jesus' leadership, we can become great disciples of Christ. That first day in ag class, we learned about leadership. And I remember Mrs. Kretz telling me, to be a good leader, you must first be a good follower. So let's follow. Let's not be scared. We know everything that we already need to know. So let's take that knowledge and let's put it in our hearts. So I challenge you for the rest of your lives. It's a big challenge. You know everything. And it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're being a good Christian or you're advocating for agriculture. You know everything. So tell people your story. Because it's more interesting to listen to your personal experiences than to have somebody spout off a whole bunch of facts. Go out there and be the leaders that we are all meant to be. Model your behavior after Christ. And if we can do that, then we're going to make this world a heck of a lot better place. Amen.
Amen.